Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fossano. Today's Monday, or at least when this is airing for the first time, is Monday. I've got another whiskey review coming at you. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the new release from Wild Turkey. This is the 70th anniversary Wild Turkey commemorative bottle for Jimmy Russell. When taking a look at the label, I'm not sure how they want this to be referred. It says Wild Turkey, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Jimmy Russell, 70th anniversary release, aged 8 years. So this is pretty easy. Wild Turkey 101. So when you're referring to this bottle, Wild Turkey 70th anniversary, that's probably what most people are going to refer to it as. So just like always, let's go ahead and pour it, nose it, taste it, talk about it. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, give it a score, and then I'm also going to compare it to the Wild Turkey 101. So this is going to be on my left side, and the 101 is going to be on my right. Now, I ended up picking this up a couple of days ago. I took it over to my brother-in-law's house along with my sister Mary Bridget. It's their house, and we did a blind between these two. So before I get into it, let me get the specifics on the bottle. It's very simple. It's your classic Wild Turkey 101. It's aged for 8 years, and there's a blend of 8 and 9-year-old whiskeys in here. 50.5% ABV. Same mash bill of 75, 13, and 12. 75 corn, 13 rye, and 12 malted barley. 750 milliliter bottle, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. And when this hit the shelves, it was $50 before tax. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing on the nose. All right, it's your classic Wild Turkey. It's your classic bourbon. Vanilla, cinnamon, oak. Get a little bit of like orange and lemon rind. Yeah, if you're thinking this is going to be something spectacularly different than the regular 101, it's not. Just prepare yourself. And I also would like to thank Wild Turkey for not jacking up a special anniversary bottle to an exorbitant amount of money. I think this is also a tribute to Jimmy Russell's idea that bourbon should be accessible to everybody. So why overprice something and exclude the majority of the whiskey world out of something that he liked so much? So again, classic 101. The spice that I get is there, and it could be like the oak spice or pepper spice. Yeah, really not a whole lot to say other than it is classic 101, maybe dialed up just a little bit. So let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Yeah, fruit, spice, oak, little pepper, vanilla, barrel char. The ABV is really nice. The proof, 101. It just kind of hits home. It's your classic, everyday, easy sipping bourbon. Now let's get it compared to the 101. We had this again in a blind over at my sister and brother-in-law's house, and I chose this over this thinking this was just the standard 101. My initial notes as I was doing this blind, I thought it came across as pretty oaky, a little bit better spice and sweetness, and all of those together I thought it was the 101, but it ended up being the 70th anniversary. So let's go ahead and get to the 101 nose. Smells a little dusty. It's not as vibrant on the nose. Still get a good amount of cinnamon and vanilla, but it's hard to put a specific like detail to the nose, but it smells dusty. Not like an older dusty whiskey, because quite frankly, I haven't had any older dusty whiskeys. So when I'm talking about dust, it just has this dusty attic, basement, cardboard kind of note to it. That citrus, orange, or lemon rind is still coming through. It's not as dialed up as this one. All right, let's get this one on the palate. It hits the palate softer. The intensity of all of those classic notes are, like I said before, just dialed down a little bit. Cinnamon, spice, vanilla, oak, just not as intense as this. Still very good. If I were to blind these again, my guess would be I would flip-flop back and forth between the two. I don't necessarily know if my palate or my nose is developed enough to really tell the difference in a blind which one is which. But knowing what I'm looking at and what I'm smelling and tasting, there is a difference. This is brighter. This is more subdued, but all of the notes are still there. Smelling this one, it does smell a little bit more oaked or oaky. The fruit notes pop a little bit more. And this, same thing, just dialed down a little bit. So let's go ahead and get back to the palate on this one. Yeah, it's just all around, it's good. Well-rounded, well-balanced with the sweet and spice. On those second and third sips, the tannin on the side of my tongue rises up a little bit. Finish lasts a little bit longer. All around, I don't think this is a miss at all. Back to the 101. Hey, either on that second or third sip, there's a little bit more spice now. The vanilla note is jumping out of the glass a little bit more as well. The 101 proof sits really well on my palate. And looking at the two, it looks like the 70th anniversary is slightly darker. I mean, slightly darker than the 101, but it's marginal. So let me go ahead and add some water to these two. Briefly talk a little bit about this bottle. There's not really a lot to talk about with the 101. It's just your classic information. It'll give me time for the water to do its thing, and then we'll retaste them and then give them a score. All right, let's get a couple of drops in each one of these. See how they do. Yeah, a couple drops will do. So talking a little bit about this bottle. So the information that I have, Jimmy Russell joined Wild Turkey when he was 18 years of age in 1954. And apparently his wife, and I apologize, I can't remember her name, worked at Wild Turkey and encouraged him to apply. And I believe they have been together ever since. He worked his way up doing pretty much basically every single job that there could be at Wild Turkey. And then in 1967, he became the master distiller. And based on everything that I've read about Jimmy Russell is he just likes to keep things simple. He doesn't experiment all that much with any other mash bills other than that 75-12 or 75-13-12. The only thing that he actually stepped out of the box and produced or released while he was the master distiller was the rare breed, but pretty much everything else he considered to be classic and he didn't want to change. Like I said earlier, this is a combination of 8 and 9-year-old bourbons. I'm not exactly positive how old Wild Turkey is, so in the comments down below, let me know if you know the approximate ages of the bourbon that's in Wild Turkey 101. So that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and see what the water has done to the 70th anniversary. Before I even taste it, here is my prediction. It's going to water this down a little bit, and I think the water is going to put this a little bit closer to this without the water. But let's go ahead and see what happens here. A little bit more spice is coming out. There's a big burst of vanilla still. I get that citrus, lemon rind, orange rind, oak, barrel char. Doesn't seem much has changed with the intensity at all. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Yep, immediately it softened it on the tongue. The arrival is not that explosion of sweetness. The barrel tannin on the side is now subdued. And the finish, actually that finish is still pretty good. There's a good amount of oak spice, good fruit, good cinnamon, nice vanilla notes. Classic bourbon, can't go wrong with that. Let's go ahead and go with the 101 and see what the water has done to it. Yeah, spice and vanilla, citrus and oak, all that's still there. I wouldn't expect anything different. All right, let's get it on the palate. Yeah, it really softened it a lot. That oak spice or the spiciness is definitely coming through. It's a little bit more spice forward now with the water. That sweetness has taken a back seat. The finish, again, is still there. It's lingering, but I would say that it's not as long as this one would be. Yeah, either way, with or without water, if you like the taste of Wild Turkey, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the score. If you're new here, I rate everything out of 5 stars. Based on the price and availability, and I do believe that the availability of this is gonna be pretty good. I ended up getting this bottle from Trevor's, and then the next day I walked into Total Wine and it was on the shelves. So I don't think you would have a hard time finding this. $50 in Phoenix, Arizona, as opposed to the first time that I purchased this bottle. And it's a little bit of it's the older bottle. I ended up paying $34 for this. So rating both of them, I really do like the flavor amplified in this over the standard 101. I don't mind paying that extra $20 for this bottle. As far as a rating goes, you can't go wrong with it. So this is going to be higher than average. because I think this kind of sets the benchmark for all budget-friendly bourbons. And I really do like the sweet and spice components of Wild Turkey. And for that, I'm going to give this a 3.95. And I'm going to put the Wild Turkey 101, which I've never reviewed before, at a 3.9. They're pretty much basically the same thing, with maybe a little bit older bourbon in this one. And because I like it a little bit more, I've got to give it a little bit of a higher score than this. All right, so there you have it. Where are you at with Wild Turkey 101? Do you like it? Is it a mainstay? Is it something on your shelf? Is this something that got you into the bourbon world? And if you have seen this on the shelves in your area, have you picked one up yet? Have you done a blind? If so, what were your results? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. I also have an October giveaway happening at the moment. All the rules to that are in the description below. And we also have some links in the description for the online Scotch Whisky Award voting. So if you want to get online and vote for your favorite whiskeys of the world, go ahead and just click on that link in the description below. It'll take you to the website and then you can go through the voting process. All right, that's all I have. Wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it. Until the next time, we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.